welcome to RC Video Reviews. This is the PilotJam for January 2023. Third one of the month. It looks like there's going to be 5. Or this is the fourth one of the month, right? I think there's going to be 5 this month. So that's cool. I'd like to say hello to everybody and welcome to the show. And I hope you all have had a great week. We have a lot to get through tonight. We have so much material. I'm going to check my audio levels real quick. They look okay to me. You guys give me an audio check. That'd be awesome. I'm trying to keep an eye on this so we don't have those awkward moments of silence of audio. That was terrible. Anyway, this new audio system seems to be doing much better than the old one, so I've been happy with that. Anyway, Hobie was in first. How you doing, Hobie? Glad you could make it. FD Photios from Greece is here. How you doing, Photios? 1 a.m. over here. He'll try to stay awake. I haven't seen him talking since then, so hopefully he's still up. Drummond Stewart is here. How you doing, Drummond? Glad you could make it. Bill is here, fourth but never last. That's right. Bill's always hanging around. Freddie, jam on it, jam on it, jam on and on and on. Freddie, are you drinking yet, Fred? Hey, I just FYI, I'm starting out with a little something to drink, so I'm with you if you are, my friend. But anyway, it's always good to have Fred at the party. Jam and toast. Jam and toast. Casey Quadtron X. Hey, brother, how are you tonight? I'm well, man. How are you? I hope you're all doing great out there. Jeff H. Hi from down under. Yakman's who says we're down under. Well, I think that's well, I don't know. You're right. We're in space. Who's to say? Mr. Skyrider Keith is here from snowy Massachusetts. We were talking in Discord, man. It was 76 here today, and he's posting pictures of snow. Like, what the? You have to shovel that. You know, in Florida, we don't shovel our snow. It just gets wet and goes away by itself. It's awesome. You ought to try it, man. Let's see. Jerry Willifong is here. How you doing, Jerry? Good to see you. Wolfie, hello, boys. Dave, how's it going, my friend? Fred C is here. We got another Fred in the house, huh? Different Fred. How you doing, Fred C? Alan Heilman is here. Hey, from Oklahoma. I made it on time. That's good. Freddie C and Freddie D. What the heck is going on here? RC Plane says hello. Gooniac 33 Fiery Booty. Well, hello there. How are you? Glad you can make it. Tim Toutant, howdy. And let's see. I think I got everybody. Did I get everybody? There's Michael Easter's here. Dale Gregory's here. Hello, Dale. Hi, Michael. And Laura Harth is here. Hello, Laura. How are you? Glad you could make it. And I think that's it. I got everybody. We have a lot to cover tonight. We have a ton to get through. I haven't seen Robert. I don't know where Robert is. Lonnie's here. How you doing, Lonnie? Glad you can make it. You know, Robert, I just wanted to trigger him right away. I don't know what happened. I don't know what, Robert, I just wanted to trigger him right away by giving him the full frontal. There he is. Hey, Ray. I knew Robert would make it. There you go, Robert. Full frontal. Jiggly precious for you. We got to trigger Robert right away. You know how it is. Okay, let's see. I think I'll do the week in review first. I want to just get through that real quick. I didn't have a whole lot of video material, but it was a good week. I had some good videos. The Stearman video didn't get made, of course, because we had it at the field on the fly day, and we did our pre-flight checks. And right as we put it on the ground and got ready to take off to do the maiden, the starboard servo on the aileron, the starboard aileron servo died. Dave caught it. I was going to have Dave fly the maiden, and he caught it, and the servo died. Unbelievable. So we messed with it. It's dead. Jim, it's dead. So the Stearman came back home, and fortunately we found it on the ground and not in flight. So that's good. And it'll be getting new servos. I've got a couple of EMAX servos. I already ordered them. They're from Race Day Quad. They're already here. So I've got the servos for that, and I'll be putting those in probably tomorrow. It's looking like a rainy day tomorrow. So I'll probably put those in the Stearman tomorrow, and we'll try and get the maiden done in the next couple of days. So appreciate you guys being patient about that, but it is what it is. And we're going to talk a little bit about that infant mortality business, because that wasn't the only thing that failed this week. So anyway, best RC fly day of the year. I'll tell you what, Dave and I, you know, Florida, we get some hot days in the summertime. It just gets hot out there, and you hear us whining about it on the video. It's so hot outside. But I'll tell you what, when we get the payback, which we had on Monday was the day off from work. And I'll tell you what, man, it was just an absolutely beautiful day out there. The weather was perfect. The sky was blue. The wind was calm at about 5 miles an hour. We just had an amazing time flying the planes on that day. Dave got there at about 8:30. I think I got there around 10. and we flew all day long. It was flight after flight after flight. We just had an amazing time. And by the way, I hope you're watching these videos because, as you know, I've made an investment in the camera system, and I believe we're really close. Like, we're really getting to that point where that investment is paid off, because we've been practicing, we've been training, and we've been, after what I saw in the video material that came out of the fly day on Monday, I was very, very pleased with the video content itself. So if you haven't been watching the flight videos, I do understand because of the GoPro. I get it. I totally get it. That's why I made the investment in the nicer camera. But start checking out the flight videos and tell your friends, because we've made some changes, and it's really, I really believe, honestly, in my heart, it's going to pay off. The content is just improved tenfold over what we used to get when it was just a GoPro, because I couldn't zoom on the GoPro. We could track the plane, and the GoPro had great focus, but we couldn't zoom. And because of that, you wound up seeing just the speck. And I get it. I understand it. But I can tell you right now, having a cameraman and having zoom and a decent camera, and now that we're starting to get the hang of it, boy, I was so pleased with the content from the flights on Monday. Just really good stuff. We had a great time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's the best RC fly day of the year. And of course, that's a little bit of a play on words, right? Because we're only 20 days into the year, but you know, it's not a lie. It was true. It was the best RC fly day of the year so far. So I'm happy with that. Had a great day. Check that video out. And we'll move on. So the next one is avoiding damage, the RadioMaster Ranger Micro. I'll bring up the big one. We're going to talk about this tonight. That had to do with the micro and the nano PCB design flaw. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. I've got a little Q&A. I want to make sure I take your questions. I'll do the best I can to answer those. But that was the second video, was the damage. The third video, as you can see in the little cryon down at the bottom, was supposed to be the Stearman Maiden. I put that in brackets because while that was planned and it would have been delivered this week, we had a hardware failure at the field. Not much I can do about that. So, and then of course the PilotJam. So that's the week in review. And like I said, it was a good week. We had a good week. I had the flying was just the best. I had such a great time. Oh, and check out the flight, the chase video. We had a really good a session where I was practicing chasing Dave. And the reason I'm doing that is because, you know, we're planning like an RCVR flight day at the field coming up when Wolfie shows up. And when we do that, I want to get the quad out and chase you guys, you know, and do some filming and that kind of stuff. So we'll see, you know, it should be a lot of fun. But anyway, I'm practicing on the chase skills and developing those a little bit. And boy, I really feel like we got that camera almost wired to ground. I'm going to show you guys some things I learned about that as well. I've got things to talk about on the camera side. So anyway, that's that. Let me check the comments and we're going to get into content real quick. So let's see. Gooniac says, nothing makes me madder than sitting on the... okay, hearing fighters flying over my... okay, I'm going to leave that one alone. Just got buzzed by 3 F-35s. Well, you're in the right place. I guess if they're going to shock you, you're in the right place, right? Tim says, snow here in Michigan. No thanks, man. I'll pass on that snow business. I'm good without it. Better than hearing the... okay. You guys. Pair of F-16s flew over my house going to Selfridge A&G base. All right, good. A little dialogue going on. That's awesome. Some great video, Hobie says, from Monday's flight. I agree, man. I really was so happy with the video footage from Monday. And I'm telling you, I kept telling you guys that camera's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. I knew it would. We just had to buckle down and figure it out. And I really am so happy with what came out of the fly day on Monday. It was so good. Happy with that. So thanks, Hobie. You're always so supportive, man. And the banter, yeah, I talked to Dave about that. We had fun. We had fun goofing off. It was fun. You know, it doesn't always have to be about learning or teaching. It can be about goofing off. And that's really, you know, that's what you should be doing at the field anyway. That's what all the work is about, right? We spend the money, we do the builds, we do the configuration, the programming. This is about having the fun. And so that was the point. So I'm glad you caught on to that. Thank you. All right. Have fun. Got to make lunch for the kids and wife. Gone. All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks for checking in. And can't wait for the best looking radio of the year because precious time has come and gone a few times. You're saying she's a little worn out there, Robert? Is that's what's going on here? A little bit worn out. Precious is her time has come and gone, huh? You know, there's a Precious V2 in Discord. I'm pretty sure he didn't comment, but I know I saw it because Tim or FL Engineer has a Precious V2 where he did almost the same thing, but he did carbon fiber instead of black. And that looked really cool. So awesome looking radio. No doubt about that. Finished assembly of a T7A 80 millimeter, great looking jet and quick build. Oh, cool. Speaking of that, I've got a jet we're going to talk about tonight too. So I'm heading for Clearwater tomorrow morning, said Dave. Awesome. Good. Well, hope to see you soon, Dave. Can't wait, man. It's going to be fun. We just got to make sure we find a good day for weather. That's the main thing. Alan says the videos are awesome. Well, thank you, Alan. I appreciate that. And Bill, you're right on the money. She is sweet. No doubt about it. All right. That's enough with the chit chat. Let's get into some material. Oh, so the first thing we're going to cover is Skywing hardware. I wanted to just talk for a minute about this because I'm going to show you a little bit about the Skywing in just a minute. So Skywing, you know, I've done a lot of the bigger stuff, you know, the 60-inch stuff and the, of course, the big planes, you know, the 73, 78, and 85-inch planes. I've done a lot of those. And I finally got my hands on a Skywing. Now, I'll tell you guys this. Oops, not that one. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, I guess it is. I wanted to tell you guys that the Skywing, and I'll show you the plane in just a minute, what I can of it. But I wanted to give you a look. This is a semi-sponsored video. So this is another one of those videos where KST told me about these little X12 708s. And here's a look at them. If the camera will focus, there it is. X12 708s by KST. So they sent me these servos for the plane for the review. So semi-sponsored video by KST. Want to say thanks a lot to KST for sending the servos out. I'll get them put in the Skywing, and these are amazing little servos. I don't have the spec sheet in front of me. I will put that information in the build when I do the build, but these are for the Skywing. And what I kind of wanted to show you guys here is that I'm looking at what I believe to be probably one. Now, I don't want you guys breaking my chops about the Ranger Micro, so just chill out on that. We're going to talk about that. But what I wanted to show you guys was what I believe to be probably one of the best value setups that you can get in a smaller airframe today. And the reason I say that is because these Sunny Sky V3 motors, and the V3s have this kind of, I don't even know, that's like an aquamarine blue color. I think I've said for a long time after I did a lot of motor testing that these Sunny Sky V3 motors are probably the best value equation on the market today. They're silky smooth, crazy powerful. They have fantastic specs, and their specs match up to what they produce on the bench. So for all of those reasons, I really like these Sunny Sky V3s. For me, right now at this moment in time, I go to Sunny Sky first when I need a motor. And I will also look at Dual Sky. Dual Sky makes good stuff, but I'll check Sunny Sky first to see if I can get what I need from them. Big fan of their motors. They have never let me down. So Sunny Sky V3, and they're not stupid expensive. That's the key. Like nothing you guys see here is ridiculously expensive. It's not necessarily the cheapest, but it's definitely not the most expensive, but very high-end performance out of all of it. Okay, so that's kind of the theme I'm trying to get across here. Of course, the ELRS Micro, this technology, barring the issue, which we will talk about, barring the issue, I still believe this is right now the best radio tech on the market, because look, the transmitter, $40, the receivers are only $15 to $20, depending on which one you pick, and the range and reliability of the link is spectacular. And it's very configurable, open source. It's a good open source team. They're constantly making improvements. So we're constantly seeing development. And all I can say is that this is the radio tech that I use as my primary go-to choice right now. And then that's Express LRS. And of course, I love the RadioMaster equipment. And we'll talk about the issue, but I do love RadioMaster equipment. So regarding radio tech right there for electronics. And then the servos, the KSTs, I also like, for a budget option, I like Emax servos, but if I want something that's a little stronger, if I want a little more power, a little more torque, something that's going to hold the movement and deliver some capability, I'm really a big fan of these KSTs. And I didn't even learn about these in fixed wing. I learned about them in helicopters. So when I first started putting my first helicopters together, Fred and Rob, they've been into helicopters a little bit longer. They dropped the KST name on me, and I said, well, if it's a known quantity for the helicopter, that's what I'm going to go with. And for me, it was a little foreign spending this kind of money on a servo, because I always went with KSTs or not KSTs, Emaxes, or even more generic type servos. But for these types of planes, it's good to have the torque. So KST, They've been very good at the channel too, by the way, providing, sponsoring with servos and providing equipment. But the reality is these servos are strong and every single one has ever worked. I've never had one die of infant mortality on me. They've all worked. So big thumbs up to KST. And then the other one that I think is one of the deep secrets on the internet, and I don't, I got to be honest with you. I used to use APC props for everything, but not anymore. I use these badass props by Innovative Design. They've got, this is a 12.6. This is going to be the one that goes on the Skywing, but let me tell you why I went to them. First off, I really like the white tips for the prop arc. That's handy. It's a safety feature, and I really do like that a lot. Obviously, you could paint them on an APC or a master air screw if you wanted to, but they come out of the box this way. I love the black blades. I think that's very cool. And I'll tell you something else. These are balanced out of the factory. I have yet to have to balance a badass prop. Every single one has been balanced. And I can tell you, while I don't intend to impugn a APC, right? APC definitely makes a good prop, no question about it. But I've had to balance probably 85 to 90% of them. They've all been off at some level. So not that that's a big deal. It's not a crime. It's not a sin to have to balance a prop. But I love the way these look, and I don't have to balance them. And they're only, I don't know what a 12.6 APC goes for. What is it, $3-4 maybe? This one's about $7. So yeah, it's a little more expensive. But man, there's just something about a wood prop. I can't get over it. They look great on the plane. So that's what I wanted to show you, is the hardware selection for the Skywing, because I think this is a really cool little selection of equipment that is not crazy expensive. It's reasonably priced, but what you get is a really strong, what I think is a really strong performance output from the equipment that you're seeing here. And that's really kind of what I wanted to get through to you guys in talking about the equipment for the Skywing. So this is the electronic suite. Regarding the ESC, I'm using a Hobby Wing, or I think I might have another, more generic ESC in the stash that I'm pulling out. So I think I've got a generic RC model. I think it's called 60 amp ESC. That'll be going in for the ESC. So that's it. That's the hardware for the Skywing. I just wanted to show that to you guys, give you a look at what I plan on putting in that plane, and that'll be built probably tomorrow. Again, the rain is coming, and it looks like it'll be tomorrow for that equipment. So I'm going to check comments real quick, and then we will move on. Let's see. Monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. That's right. That's right, Robert, because they have taste, man. They have taste. Not the Ranger Micro. Hey, Hobie, exact same motor I just got this week for my GP Edge 540. Well, you made a good choice, Hobie. These Sunny Sky V3s, man, they're just, I can't say enough about them. But remember what I told you last time I think we talked about these motors. Don't count on support. Their support, after-sales support, is terrible. My experience with them was terrible. No response to questions on a fairly expensive motor, too. So just keep that in mind. Maybe you can get a response via email. I did not get responses via email or voicemail. So not happy with their support, but man, it's hard to fault the product itself. All right. Fred says OMP might want to send an M4 for review. Yeah, I should check with them. I'd love it. They are a sponsor of the channel. I'd love it if we get our hands on an M4 for review. No doubt about it. Estuardo says ELRS needs to produce receivers with more than 6 channels. So hang tight. I know that's coming. So hang tight. That's all I can tell you. I know it's on the way. And ELRS, by the way, just so we're clear, is a software project. They don't make hardware. It's up to the producers out there, Beta FPV, RadioMaster, and some of the others that will be producing the receivers. It's kind of up to them to do it. But I agree with you. We need to start seeing 10 channels. I'd love to see 10 channels on a PWM receiver. I think that'd be good. Fred says KST are awesome. I agree, Fred. And you're the one that first turned me on to them, and I do love my KST servos. No gripes at all. So let's see. Comments. All right. Welcome to have you. Thanks, guys. Okay, welcome aboard. Hey, everyone, if you enjoy all John's content. Oh, yeah, hit the Patreon. Oh, that's a good one. Thanks, Hobie, for reminding me. So patrons, big shout out to you guys. Thanks for helping out. And a reminder, if you like what you see on RC Video Reviews, you can go to patreon.com and help me provide content for the channel. This kind of stuff, well, not this one, that was sponsored, but all of this kind of stuff comes from patreon.com. They're the ones that help out. So you guys join patreon.com. I have a tier as little as $3 a month. If you want to help out, that'd be awesome. If not, that's cool too. I get it. No worries. Lonnie says, I actually had a good customer experience with Sunny Sky. Well, that's awesome, man. I wonder what the deal was with me. Maybe they just didn't like my voice. Maybe. I don't know. So anyway, thanks again to the patrons for helping out. And if your budget allows, head over to patreon.com and join. That'd be awesome. Also, for the new guys, join us on Discord. Yep, Robert's got the links for Discord. Definitely hop on Discord. It's a great place to get some help. We've got some very knowledgeable people, especially in areas that I don't tinker with, like Spectrum. I get a lot of Spectrum questions, and I don't fool with Spectrum gear, so I don't know what to tell you guys there. All right. Let's take a station break and have a sip. Cheers, fellas. I'm going to have a little pop. Little road pop, and then let's get going again. Okay. I wanted to show you guys two things for the upcoming planes because I thought they were both kind of unique and cool. So let me just get the desk material set arranged here, and we're going to bring up two different planes to talk about. So the first one is this thing zoomed in? Let me see if I can back this camera out just a little. There we go. There we go. Now I got a little breathing room. Okay, the first one that I wanted to show you guys is the Skywing. Now, these are the Skywing. This is a 48-inch Skywing laser. This is the white and gold Skywing laser. And I've never seen anything like this before. It's got this hybrid build technique that they use. Notice the balsa wood in here and look at the covering. The covering is like this, I don't know, is that about 1/8 inch, maybe 3 or 4 mils of, maybe 3 mils, maybe 4 mils of material that they just wrap around the balsa framework. And it looks really nice because it's not paint. It's not like the paint that you normally get on EPO. It's just this kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't think I've ever touched material like this. It's something you might see in an art project. This is really thin foam, and it's kind of got the silk screen applique of graphics on there. And it looks actually pretty cool. Also notice that they include quick release. I don't know if the camera is going to let me fit that in here. That's a quick release screw. So they actually use their quick release mechanism from the larger planes to pop the wings on and off, which is very cool. And yeah, that's it. So a little 48-inch plane. That's where the KST servos are going to go on the wing. I just wanted to show you this build technique because I've never seen anything like it. I've been very curious about it for a while. And I'll be honest, the guy who got me to finally get over it and make the choice to do something was Oliver. Oliver got one like this, and he said it was good. He posted some videos on the channel, and I'd have been, based on this little hybrid build technique, I'd been very hesitant to try it out. I wasn't sure how it would look, but man, I got to tell you, the planes are only about $160, which is not terrible. That's not terrible if the plane flies well. If it flies well, that's not too bad for a 48-inch 3D plane. And then I think between the motor, I want to say, Hobie, maybe you could help me out. I think the motor was maybe $45, $42, I want to say, for the motor. Maybe another $7 for the prop. And I also bought a spinner, but they included a spinner in the kit, so I didn't have to buy a spinner. And yeah, you're in it, I think $25, $30 for a 60 amp ESC. So you're really not that expensive. I think, by the time you're done, you're maybe just a little bit over $200. And you're all in on a 48-inch 3D plane that looks pretty cool. Also notice it's got the side force generators on there too with the quick release. Very cool stuff. So yeah, I'll be building this tomorrow. I'll be in Discord popping pictures in the build log if you guys want to see it. And Robert, this is just the wing, no aileron, right? No aileron, so keep that in mind. But anyway, yeah, very cool. So that's the Skywing, and I think it's got a really neat build feel. I can't wait to get it built and fly it. I'm really excited to try that out. All right, and then the next one, this is a sponsored video. So this came from BitGo Hobbies. This is the X-Fly Alpha Jet. And this one, I wanted to show this one to you because while I thought they did a really good job finishing, look at the servo compartments and how all the wiring and the servos are all tucked away. This is for a jet, by the way, if you didn't know. This is for an upcoming jet. This one also has ailerons and flaps, of course. They left the ball link off the flaps. I'm not sure why, but that's easy to pop on. It's just a Z-bend and a ball link that pops on. That's easy. But here's the cool part that I wanted to show you that kind of surprised me. They use a quick connect arrangement on this as well. So you do have some screws that go in from the top and they latch right there on the leading edge and trailing edge to hold the wing onto the fuselage. But check out the quick connect, and that's for the servos on the flaps and the ailerons, and it's got navigation lights too. So nav lights and that quick connect, that's all you need. No wires, no fussing around with servo connectors. You basically just jam it into its slot and off you go. And I kind of like the way that looks because of the metal housing. So to me, that looks durable. That looks like it means business, you know? And the other thing I'll point out about the wing is that the finish on this looks really good. The paint, it's a heavy application of paint, so it looks solid and it looks fairly clean. You know, a lot of times on these EPO paint jobs, you see a little bit of blur. You can see it right there. So it's not a perfectly straight line, but you know, a foot away, you won't even see it unless you have your glasses on, right? So this one, the big surprise to me on this model was that it only takes like 8 screws to put it together. You basically put 8 screws in it, you put your receiver and battery and you're done. That's it. So you're ready to go. Yeah, it's an RS-232 connector. That's right. A D shell. It's like a 9-pin, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. How about that? How about that for whipping out some old school computer knowledge right there, guys? Nine pins. You can count them if you want, but yeah, it's 9 pins. 9-pin D shell connector. So anyway, only 8 screws for the jet. So this one's going to build, it's not even going to I'm not even going to do an unbox because you basically almost pull it out of the box built. So what I'll do is put it together. And when we do the maiden, I'll do a little bit of a tour, you know, I'll show you the plane and then we'll do the maiden and we'll put those in the same video. So anyway, that's that. And I got to tell you, here's another thing. This plane is one of those weird ones where the pictures simply do not do it justice. When I look at the pictures on the BitGo website, this is the X-Fly Alpha. When I look at the pictures, it looks kind of odd, but when I have it in hand, it looks really cool. So hopefully I'll get some better picture angles, something a little more flattering for the airframe, but it's a very cool little airplane. Looks really good to me. I'm anxious to fly this. And this is a 6L 4000 or 5000 80 millimeter ducted fan. And literally should take me less than an hour to get this ready to go. So there you go. Anyway, those are the airplanes that are coming up. And of course the Stearman, you know, which is built, and you guys were watching Discord or the video, you would have seen copies of the Stearman out there ready to go. And the Stearman, you know, I have a couple little gripes about the Stearman, but it's a much more complex plane than what we're looking at here. So that's it. RS-232 standard that isn't old geek humor. Yep, the standard that isn't. That's right. Old humor, man. Old humor. That's how originally how the mouse used to connect to a PC. Remember that? Used to have those 9-pin mouse connectors, serial connectors. That's right. Hey, cheers to anyone who knows what a mouse felt like that had a ball and no USB connection on the back. I bet all the kids are like, wait, what? You had wires on your mouse? That's ridiculous. All right. That's it for the upcoming planes. Just wanted to give you guys a preview and let you know what's going on there because it is coming. It's coming up. Okay. Infant mortality. We're going to talk about this. I did not cut out the servo of the Stearman yet. I will, but I haven't cut it out yet. But I wanted to talk about this concept of infant mortality. And the reason I wanted to do that is because of what happened with RadioMaster. So I told you we'd talk a little bit about this. Now let's, you know, if you didn't hear, let's just cut to the chase and I'll tell you exactly what happened right away. So these Express LRS modules go in the back of the radio like that, right? And they have pin connectors that supply power from the radio. You can turn these modules on from inside the radio and they supply power to the module. So they'll turn the module on. Now you can fly that way. I've been flying with this module for at least 3 weeks now, connected on my production radio that I take to the field. And it's been flawless, no problems at all, works perfectly. The problem comes when you connect external power to this XT30. Now, one of the questions I got in the video quite a bit was, why do they have the XT30 port? Okay, so if you're gonna go out flying, you might have this 5,000 milliamp hour battery, okay? And that's powering the radio. It also provides power to these pins, and those pins provide power to this module. So basically what happens is this battery supplies power both to the radio and the Express LRS transmitter. Make sense? So what happens is if you crank up the power on this all the way to 1 watt, now personally I think you should use dynamic power, right? I think that works, it's sufficient, it's been proven, it's a known working technology, so that's what I use, is dynamic power. But the idea is that if you use dynamic radiated power up to 1 watt, that's gonna require more juice, right? It's just gonna require more energy from your flight pack. So the concern is that if you're flying maybe these long range missions, or for whatever reason, you're running 1 or 2 watts, whatever your reasons might be, who cares? It doesn't matter, that you might not want to rely on your transmitter battery to do that because you'll run it out faster. That's the problem. It's not about current, okay? A lot of people are confused about this. It has nothing to do with current. It's not a problem. This module will run at 1 watt connected just the way you see it, no problem. 1 watt of radiated power, okay? So it's not about current, it's about capacity. That's the issue. So if you're going to be flying long range missions or long duration missions, you don't have to go more than a mile away. You can be less than a mile away, but you might be flying, you know, doing a survey, an acreage survey or something like that. So if you got to be up in the air for an hour, hour and a half, you might need a little more capacity than what your 5,000 can provide. That's why they include that port on the back. So you could, you know, find a way to maybe make a mount for your handle and attach a Li-ion battery, say a 4,000 milliamp 2-cell Li-ion, and connect that via XT30 to your module to power this device while the internal battery powers your radio. That's the reason for the connector, okay? For the vast majority of you, if you don't have a use case like that, you don't need to worry necessarily about plugging in external power. I have never plugged in external power other than to test. That's the only reason I've ever done it, was just to test. That's not to say there aren't use cases for it. There are. Certainly there are. Of course there are. There might be people who need the extra capacity, and that's fine. That's what that's for. But if you're flying line of sight, if you're flying in a place where your flights are no longer than 10, maybe 12 minutes, 15 minutes at a time, you probably don't need to worry about that. So a lot of you guys that were getting these modules, and a lot of people chimed in and said, oh, great, I just bought my module, now I got a broken PCB. If you get one of these modules and you don't need the extra capacity, the battery capacity, not current, don't worry about current, okay? Take that off the table. That's not the problem here. But if you don't need the extra capacity, then you don't need to use the XT60 connector. The radio will power the module just fine, and it will deliver all the current it needs to operate at the specified levels inside the configuration, up to 1 watt. I'm not going to talk about 2 watts because it's not sanctioned. That's a hack. If you do that, you take your life in your hands. You must know what you're doing. So I'm not going to talk about that because, frankly, I don't want to encourage it. I think we should try and stay within our EIRP guidelines from the FCC for Part 15 devices, right? That's what we should be doing. That's the responsible thing to do. But, I'm not your daddy either. So if you decide you're going to do 2 watts, then, do your thing. It's your money, your hobby. So, but that said, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. You understand why? I just don't want to, I don't want to participate in that conversation, at least not in a public format. Okay. So that said, what I will tell you is that this module will work at up to 1 watt of radiated power out the antenna via the internal pins off of the internal battery. And I can tell you that I have gone to the field with a 5,000 milliamp hour just like this, and I've flown all day long and come home with 75%, 60% battery on this battery. Okay. So that's that. I hope that clears it up. I'd be happy to look at questions if you have them. But I wanted to spend a minute talking about what this was all about and what would happen. And by the way, if you don't know what the failure was, what happens is when it doesn't actually damage the PCB on the module, it damages the main board in the radio. So there's a diode missing or some kind of protection circuit missing in the event you plug XT30 power into this jack. It will cause a problem on your main board and your radio. That's the issue. It doesn't hurt the module. It hurts the main board and the radio. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the infant mortality piece, okay? So I had actually 3 things this week. I have on my field box, I've got this little panel. Give me a second. I'm just going to get it out because I want you guys to see it. Hold on. I'm going to put you on mute, and I'm going to get that box out. I want you to see it. Okay, I'm back. So this is a power panel that I have on the front of my charging case. And this has been in production for 2.5 years now, I think 2.5 years. And look what happened. There's no reason for this to have happened, but it happened. So that thing blew on the side and I was unable to charge with my field box until I took this out of my circuit. It had to come out of the circuit. And I have no idea why. There was no overcurrent issue. Nothing happened on the box that I could see that caused a problem. Everything else still works. It was just a failure. That's all there was to it. It was a failure. What happened with these modules? Now, this is not infant mortality because this has been running for 2 years. This is a component failure, okay? Something went bad in there. Something shorted, obviously. And that's what caused the heat and the charring, so that's not a good thing. Okay, so that's not infant mortality because this has been in production for 2 years. Now, I put a link in the description for you guys so you can go read up on it if you've never heard this phrase before, infant mortality. And the guy says, well, infant mortality really shouldn't be used because it's a misnomer. And he's not wrong about that. But let me explain what infant mortality is. Infant mortality is this idea that when you have something new, let me get this module out. When you have something new, this is obviously new. This is a new module. It just hit the market. You have something new. You can, if you have design or production or assembly issues, related issues, that's when you discover infant mortality. In the case of RadioMaster, this is an infant mortality problem because it's a new design. It's a first gen, first out of the gate, Rev 1, basic first device out of the gate for them on Express LRS, and they had a design flaw. It was a design issue. So that's what causes infant mortality. Now, the idea here is that once you get over infant mortality, meaning the device has been proven, it's in production, all the various scenarios and combos have been tested out, and it works within its specified operating parameters, and everything works. From that point on, the device starts to degrade over time. It starts to get weaker and weaker and weaker over time. That's what happened with this. Something in here let go. There were no unusual operating parameters with this device, but something in there let go because something in here got weaker and weaker over time. That's not what happened here. This is infant mortality because it's a design flaw. So in this, what I want to say about this is one of those deals where you have to say, we live in an imperfect world. For anybody that's perfect, you get to throw the first stone, right? So when it comes to what happened with RadioMaster is, sure, it's imperfect. It was it's unfortunate. It's sad that they missed it. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to cost them money. It probably takes a little luster off their reputation out there in the hobby. But here's what I think is important. And I think I saw a lot of comments about what is important and I really respect the people who came out and thought of the problem in this way. They said, well, that really sucks that I have a defective module. It really sucks that I've been waiting all this time and now, they're going to have to, send me another board and do something different with me. And then I have to do a repair. But I do respect that RadioMaster stood up and owned it. And that to me is the key. Because we're not perfect. We're humans, right? We make mistakes. And this is certainly a mistake. It's a design flaw. And they acknowledged it was a design flaw in their public statement. I'm not the one saying it. They said it. So they've acknowledged the design flaw. And what is important to me is how they recovered. The way they recovered is where I give all the respect in the world, because they said, whoops, we screwed up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to replace your boards. Don't worry about it. If you bought it from us, we're just going to send it to you automatically. If your module damaged the main board on your radio, here's a link, sign up and let us know, and we're going to take care of those too. So they did the stand-up thing, right? There are a lot of companies out there who will literally stick their head in the freaking sand and pretend that whatever's going on didn't happen. We'll just ignore it long enough and it'll go away. And we all know that's true. So that's where I have to give RadioMaster the respect, right? Because they didn't. They made a statement. They went out in the public and said, we messed up. We made a mistake. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. They owned it. And that is the thing that I think is important to take away from all this, right? Infant mortality can happen. This is not infant mortality. That's a component failure. So that happens over time. This is 2 years in production with fairly heavy use. You guys know the types of batteries I use and how much charging I do at a time. So this was in line with that circuit. Fairly heavy use. That's a failure. That's a non-infant mortality. This is a life cycle failure is what that is. This is where MTBF numbers come from, or devices like this. This is not a component failure. It's not what it is. It's a design failure or infant mortality. Okay. Big difference between the two. So yes, I agree. 100%. 100% kudos to RadioMaster. All right, let me check the comments real quick and we will move on from the subject. But I wanted to make sure that we had a moment to talk about expectations and what I consider to be the right thing. And I want to give those guys credit for doing the right thing. So let me see here. Showing your age now, John. Yeah, I know. Right, Bill? Oh, well, cheers. I'm old enough to drink too. How about that? Drink. All right. Remember taking the ball out to clean it. Yes. You remember taking the ball out of the mouse to clean the little wheels that the ball used to run the debris from the desk on. Yeah, I remember that. You have to scrub those little wheels off every time it started skipping. No doubt. And it was not a laser mouse. The pain of finding out why you needed a mouse pad. Yeah, that's right. Ground loop. Hello. Little one-on-one. Glad you could make it. Four Eyes made it. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Sir Robert needs some elevator music. What's up, all? Hit the like button. Info mortality. Thanks for the link, Robert. Thumbs up for the info. You're welcome, Head Fog. No problem. Glad you got here. Good to see you. Lonnie says, I was impressed with RadioMaster owning it. Doesn't happen too often. There you go. See, Lonnie. And by the way, Lonnie's an electrical guy. So he has electrical knowledge. He's an electrician. He knows about this kind of stuff. So, that kind of response to me is meaningful. And I agree. Big kudos to them. They made a mistake. So what? It's how you recover that matters. That's what matters. And I think their recovery was class leading. I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm not saying that because I'm sponsored by them. I'm saying it because you guys know I'm going to tell you the truth. I think it is. I think it's class leading. What else could you ask them to do? This is what, when the whole Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky thing happened, he got on TV and he said, now you listen to me. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I was like, man, you wagging your finger at me, you dirty rascal. Don't wag your finger at me and lie to me. What he should have said was, now you listen to me. What happens in my bedroom between me and my wife and my girlfriend is my business, not yours. Now let's move on. I would have had a lot more respect for that. But yeah, they owned it, right? They owned the problem. They stood up to be counted and they said, we're going to take care of it. So they did not stick their head in their sand. They didn't lie about it. They told the truth and they took ownership. And that's that, man, all the respect in the world. All right, Dale Gregory, you need a Gooniax 33 afterburner for your new jet. Ooh, is that one of those light LED LEDs? If I like the jet, I might look into that, Dale. I'll be honest with you. I give jets away. I know I'm not a jet guy. I can fly them. I don't have a hard time flying them, but I tend to give them away or sell them because I just, 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. I don't know. This one's kind of got my attention. I might hold on to this one. We'll see. Bill says drink. That's right. Wolfie, do what you say and own what you produce. Class act. That's right. And that's the correct way to look at it. I've got some comments we're going to cover a little later in the session, but I really just wanted to spend the time, RadioMaster's not here. They're all on Chinese holiday and that's fine. Chinese New Year. But I just wanted to make sure that we're thinking about this the right way. That's the bottom line. Mars Tech Racing says, good night. I'm using the Ranger module with a TX16 on 1 watt and I'm getting nonstop fail safe to reconnect over and over and over. Well, to what? And, I don't know. All I can tell you, first off, why are you using 1 watt? Are you swamping? And what receiver are you connecting to? I don't know your details. This is where Discord is better than a live stream for that kind of question. I can tell you that I've been using this to fly every single airplane I own, and I've been putting some very large airplanes in the air with this radio technology. It's worth flying. No problems. So I bought a ARM a few weeks ago. I've gone through a ton of your videos, so thanks for them. As a new customer, ARM owning it makes me feel like I made the right choice. I agree. And you're going to find out that in the repair cycle, they own it too, right? They get involved and they do the right thing. That's another, I was brought up, I have a business education, and I was brought up in my business education and in my business dealings to do the right things right. And that's what I see going on with RadioMaster. Sure, they made a mistake, but they're doing the right things right. They're owning their problem. They're providing the financial support to get it rectified. They're not making excuses about it, and they're going to take care of people. So I agree with you, Andrew. I think they're stepping up, and they're stepping up. They're not sticking their head in the sand, which is awesome. Jeff says, I fly my jet for cardio exercise. Oh, you get that heart beating, huh? When the jet's up in the air. I like flying a jet. They're kind of cool. I took my BAE Hawk out the other day and I flew that at the new field because new field's huge. We have a lot more room to fly. So that's kind of cool. Mars Tech says the RadioMaster RP3 and using dynamic one models attempting a long range, but at 1 kilometer, this happened. Yeah. Again. Yeah. So, when these types of questions come up, I want to do things like say, show me pictures of your antenna placement. What orientation did you have? What kind of RQLI do you have? Are you logging? Do you have data logs? You know, all of these questions come into mind when you start bringing up this type of thing. Long range, by the way, I don't know how experienced you are with long range, but I can tell you that, you know, long range is it can be challenging. It takes a lot to learn it. At 500 milliwatts or less, I don't have the issue. So that's why I'm thinking the module needs more power. Possibility, but I haven't heard that come up yet. I haven't heard that out there on the wire yet, so to speak. Yeah, so thanks for replying and great stream. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Get on Discord, man. Get on Discord. Show pictures. And by the way, 500 milliwatts on 2.4 gigahertz LoRa. If you ever go look at the LRS leaderboard, it's got crazy range at 25 milliwatts. So I would challenge you to think about using dynamic power and maybe trying that out. All right, I have to take a break for just one moment. I'm talking fast and talking a lot tonight. I'm getting a little dry. So drink. All right, I got you 100%. All right, yeah, get on Discord. Discord's a much better platform for this kind of thing. And we like talking about this kind of stuff on Discord anyway. Okay, let's move on. Let's get moving. Let's get back into the swing of things. So infant mortality, that's that. Next is Q&A. All right, I got to set up the desktop for that. So give me just a moment. And I've got some Q&A that I want to go through. And most of this Q&A business is really about spending a little bit of time talking about some of the comments that I see in the comment section of the channel from time to time. And a lot of times they're repeat questions. So I've seen them more than one time. And if I've seen a question more than once, I figure it might be worth talking about it just a little bit. I got dust all over the thing from the wings. Okay. So I get these questions, and I think if I get asked more than one time, or if it's especially sensitive or something that I want to address, I like doing these Q&As just to kind of share with you guys what I see and how I feel like I need to react sometimes. So Maury FPV, this is question 1. He says, I got my radio damaged due to this flaw. RadioMaster is sending me the TX16S main board that got damaged and also an upgraded PCB when they have it ready. Good thing is that they were honest and repaired the damage. So this is a firsthand account of you know, an experience that somebody had plugging in the module and damaging their main board. And his response was that they're going to take care of the main board. And, you know, that's not cheap. So I have another one that we're going to get into in just a little while, but this is another indicator to me that RadioMaster, again, is kind of taking ownership for it and standing up and doing the right thing. So Freddie D says, drink and elevator music. Freddie D says, my wife and I needed more dynamic power. Yeah, without that dynamic power, man, you're just going to be forced to going back to disappointing her in bed, right? I know what you're saying. I'm with you. That's what happens when you get older. You know what I mean? Cheers. Boy, did that degenerate real fast. Woo. Okay, let's see. Next. So anyway, this Maury FPV, moral of the story is they're doing the right thing, trying to take care of them. And I wanted you guys to see this, that this is a first-hand account outside of my hands, where somebody said, yeah, I had a problem. It broke my stuff and they're taking care of me. So I thought that was a good one to share. The next one was by Voodoo Survival. Now, you know, I don't know, maybe he's goofing around. I can't tell. It's hard to tell behind a keyboard, right? But his comment on this was, how to avoid problems with ELRS. Don't use ELRS. Saved y'all some time. You know, maybe that's tongue in cheek, might be a joke, you know, and that's fine if it is. But the reason I wanted to share this is because I really wanted to be clear about something. And that's it. This is not an Express LRS problem. It's simply not an Express LRS problem. This is a hardware problem. It's an electrical circuit design flaw. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with software. So again, maybe he said it tongue in cheek. I don't know. But I wanted to draw the line between Express LRS and the hardware because I don't want to see the Express LRS guys getting punished, right? They should not be punished for this. It's not a Express LRS issue. It's a hardware issue. So let's make sure that, you know, we assess the problem where the assessment belongs, and that's in the hardware. Okay. So maybe he meant Express LRS technology, kind of hard to tell, by the comment, but I just wanted to make sure we delineate. This is not an Express LRS problem, period. This is a hardware problem. Okay, so let's make sure we do that. The real question is, what's the drink of choice tonight? I've joined in with a Buffalo Trace whiskey myself. That's my boy, Andrew. I'm drinking this is an old standby I've got. It's pecan praline whiskey. I love it. It's very good stuff. In fact, thanks for bringing it up. Freddie's got some Crown Royal vanilla tonight. Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds very good, Fred. All right, so there we go. That's the second question. Let's move on to the third one. What are the XT30 connectors used for on the back of the modules? I think we covered that. I got that one a couple of times in the session, in the comments. What is this module used for? And I think we addressed that. So you guys are comfortable with that. That is to provide extra capacity. And you know what? Mars Tech Racing, that's another one. When they get I don't know if you have a Ranger Micro or a Nano or the Ranger. By the way, if you have the Ranger, you can use the XT30 connector. I'd be curious about that. If you have the Ranger, the full size with the OLED screen, go ahead and try plugging, because that one's not impacted. Go ahead and try plugging power in and see if a standalone 2-cell 7.2, 7.4 volt battery helps out. It might. If you think it's power related, it could be. Just throwing it out there. But don't be afraid to try dynamic power. I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. You probably don't need 1 watt. I don't really know. I haven't checked the Express LRS website in a long time, but I have this feeling that at 1 watt, you could probably go like 25 miles. And if you're doing that, you better have some serious video capabilities. That's all I'm saying. So I used to do a lot of long range, guys. I love that technology. It's a lot of fun. You got the full size. There you go. You got the full size Ranger. You can plug an XT630 in the back, buddy. Try it. That's all I'm saying. Try it out. All right, let's move on to the next one. What the hell happened here? Here we go. Come on. Okay. This is another one. This is one of those rumor mill type questions. And so Eagles landed 75. Again, this could be tongue in cheek. It's hard to tell. He said RadioMaster probably knew this already and sold them anyway. They supposedly sent these to the ELRS devs for quality assurance and still made this mistake. So maybe it's an honest question. I'm assuming he's not trying to be, to stir up the mud. But my response on this is I am certain that RadioMaster, there's no upside. Think of it like a chess game, right? There's no upside for RadioMaster to say, you know what, we got a messed up board. Let's go ahead and ship them anyway because of the damage. You guys ever hear this concept of brand equity? If you look, everyone says, well, Apple's $1 trillion company. Google's $1 trillion company. That's not because they have $1 trillion in the bank. It's because they have brand equity. Their value, their marquee, their name is worth the money. It comes from intangible assets like their market value in terms of the intangible assets they own, like Google.com, for example. That's more tangible. It's brand equity. That's the value. So from a purely business and economic standpoint, it does not make sense for RadioMaster to say, well, let's knowingly ship out a defective unit because it damages their brand equity. No matter what you say, it damages their brand equity. There are going to be people who have a negative impression as a result of this situation, right? No matter how it's spun by personalities like myself, there are going to be people who are going to be negative about it, right? Period. So I doubt that RadioMaster did it knowingly. So to me, I discount that one. I don't think they knew about it. Had they known about it, they would have simply said, we have to delay. It's better to delay production because of a flaw and resolve the flaw and maintain the brand equity, if that makes sense. So there's no upside for them to do that. Then secondly, he says they supposedly sent these to the ELRS devs for quality assurance. That's a misnomer. They sent them to the ELRS devs to make sure the software worked with the hardware. They give this equipment to the developers so the developers can put the software on it and make sure that it works. They make sure it turns on, make sure that the software performs the way it's supposed to perform. Just because you're a software developer doesn't mean you're an electrical engineer and that you were engaged to provide some sort of quality assurance. In fact, I'm not going to say any names, but I know people on the Edge team that really know what they're talking about when it comes to electronics. They didn't catch it either. And it's probably because that's not what they were involved to do. Had somebody said, hey, can you do a third-party validation of all the circuitry on this machine? I'm certain that somebody on one of the development teams would have said, hey, you got a problem here with the thing. You need a diode on your main board. You need a diode on the PCB. Somebody would have said it. We're not talking about novices here. I'm telling you guys flat out, the people involved in this development, I've engaged them. I talk to them on a fairly regular basis. They are experts in their field, like top shelf experts in their field. So first off, let's not impugn the developers. I won't stand for that, period. Right? If that's what's going on here, that's not okay. The developers know exactly what they're doing, but that's not what they were asked to do. They were asked to validate the software, period. Okay. So again, the supposedly sent to these developers, that's rumor mill to me. We need to rein that kind of thing. And that's not what happened. They were sent the hardware to test the software, and they did the job, because I can tell you right now, the software works with the hardware, and full stop, end of discussion, right? Period. That's a fact. And still made this mistake. Well, I'll go back to the simple answer that we're all human. We all make mistakes, just like that post. That post to me is a mistake. It's misplaced. It's a misplaced supposition is what that is to me. So the post is a mistake, just like the mistake in the design for RadioMaster is a flaw, period. All right, Dave Parker. This is our own Dave. I grabbed this one because, not because it was Dave, but because I read the comment and I appreciate what Dave said. Dave has the right perspective. He said, I applaud RadioMaster for doing that, coming out and saying, we have a problem, we're going to fix it, and not just hide the issue or problem, let everybody suffer through the consequences. Good for them and for us. That's all. I mean, perfect. That's the correct frame of mind to have on this problem, right? We're all humans. We make mistakes. Dave's got the right point of view, and he's 100% right. It's good for us as consumers that we have a company like RadioMaster that says we will stand behind our product. And that's what's going on here. All right. So that's Dave. Thanks, Dave. Good comment, man. I didn't grab that just because it's Dave. Oh, and check this out. I think this is a first. I know Headfog is in the audience, and Headfog made a comment. He said, well, things happen. It's what you do to fix them wrongs to rights is what's important. Do you guys remember earlier in the session when I said, it's not about whether or not you make a mistake, it's how do you recover? Headfogs is saying the same thing. That's the same exact comment, same response. And he's 100% right. And now we know where RadioMaster stands. That's right. This is a very public scenario or situation, right? It's not great. It's not great, but we do now know where RadioMaster stands. So if anything else, I think at the end of the day, because they're doing the right thing, I think there's a real opportunity for them to develop an incredible amount of goodwill with the community. And I can tell you from my part, they simply reinforced my belief in what they are doing. So fine, they made a mistake. They're owning it, and we're benefiting from their response and their example, right? They're setting an example for other companies to follow. The companies that prefer to stick their head in the sand, they're providing an example of what not to do, right? Hold on. No, let me restate that. They're providing an example of how to behave, and they're not providing the example of what not to do, which I know is a double negative, but I'm drinking a little, so bite me. Okay. Next topic. What do we got here? That's Q6. That's the last one. So Headfog, good comment, man. I agree with you, man. You're right. You have the correct thinking about it. Not that I'm your daddy. I'm not your daddy. I don't tell you guys how to think or what to say, but I believe that you're thinking about it in the right way. Period. Okay, that's it. Bill says fires happen. It's how you put them out that matters. That's right. Drone Pilot finally made it. Elias, you're a little late, man. You're gonna have to catch a replay. All right, let's see. That is it for the Q&A section. Let's see, what do we have next? Oh, video banding. We need more businesses like this in the industry. I agree a lot. Hobie, you got to have companies in there that stand behind it. And I'll tell you what, man, they earn my respect. They earn my respect. I have a lot of respect for the way they're reacting to this. Okay, video banding. I have to get more material out. You guys, I want to show you guys something. So I've been having an absolute freak out session. I don't see Rob on the session. I don't know. Rob, are you here? Say hello if you're here, Rob. I don't see you out there. But let me, give me a second to get this arranged here. Poor Rob. Rob is on Discord, and I get on Discord. I get on Discord with my woes and my complaints and my gripes, and Rob is almost like, sometimes he's like my therapist. And the reason is because Rob gets his geek on almost as much as I do. So a lot of times way more than I do on certain topics. And we had this issue. I had this issue with banding. And Rob's not here. I don't know where he is. He's probably available too. Man, if you're here, Rob, speak up. Say hello. Andrew says, hello. Yeah, I finally made it. Been playing with my Boxer. Oh, got the Boxer. Nice. Boxer's nice radio. I need to get that Boxer out. I definitely need to get that Boxer out. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about banding. So in the video, here's what happened. All right, let me make this real. So Dave and I went out and we flew on Monday and we captured what I consider to be some really cool video. And I went through the entire edit process, and I made this. I liked it. I thought it was a good video. I made this nice video, and I posted it to YouTube. And when I first watched it, I almost had a tear in my eye because of this concept called banding. Now, what banding is, I'm going to show you. This is not my video. I'm going to make this really big so you guys can see it. Hopefully, you can see all that pixelation there in the clouds. This actually came off of another website, another YouTube channel, and I have a lot of respect for this YouTube channel. They do some really high quality video footage, and I aspire to be as good as they are. This is RC scale airplanes on YouTube, by the way. This is where this came from. Okay, I aspire to put out video content that's as good as theirs for the flight stuff. And I took this image after I first posted my video. I took this image from their website and I loaded it up in DaVinci and I added a little contrast, and this is what I saw. So hopefully you can see all this pixelation right here in the middle of this screen. That is banding. All right. And this is also compression artifacts from the fact that we compress videos. YouTube compresses our videos when we upload them. So when I first saw all this banding in my video, I was absolutely devastated. Because I thought the video content itself was very good. I thought that the airplanes looked good, the landings looked good, we were zoomed in. I thought everything looked good. And then I uploaded the video to YouTube and I saw all this banding, and I just had a tear in my eye because I think I probably spent about 17 hours editing that video. And when I saw it on YouTube, I was just so deflated because I thought the compression just looked like crap. So I went out and I started doing some research. I even put a poll on the channel. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I put a poll on the channel. I messed around with a whole bunch of different render settings. I fiddled with it. I fooled around with it. And I came to the conclusion that the answer is there is no answer. There's no answer because everybody suffers from the same thing. The weird part is I've never noticed it before. I've produced 1,000 videos. No shit, 1,000 videos. And I've never noticed this before. I've never noticed it in any detail. I noticed it on the footage from Monday because we had clear blue skies. And clear blue skies with gradients are the worst. Clear gray skies, like you see in that picture right there, they're also pretty bad. So this has a little added contrast to illustrate the point, but this is what you get. Now, I want to show you this next picture so you guys can see what I see when I do the edits. If you look at this picture, you see all of these lines in here. This is called a parade. It's an RGB parade in a color grader for making videos. And you see all these lines in here. That's banding. Every bit of that is banding. When you have a video that's not compressed to this level, you don't see that banding. It's not there. It looks very different than this. So this parade is derived from this picture where you can see all that banding. That looks terrible. That's not very good. So here's another example, another picture that I took off of, I think it was RC scale airplanes again. And I really hit the contrast really hard. And boy, you can really see the banding in this one. Look at that. You see all that? And again, by the way, let's be clear. I am absolutely not trying to impugn RC scale airplanes. They have some of the best looking videos on YouTube. So let's be clear about that, okay? I'm simply showing that even though I aspire to be as good as they are, they have the same problem. This is banding. So when I pulled this one down from their channel, I took a screen grab, I loaded it in my editor, and this is what I saw. And then I looked at the parade. Look how bad that is, right? Now, of course, it's exaggerated because I really applied some heavy contrast to it. So, but my moral of the story was I saw this banding. I'm like, okay, now I don't feel as bad, right? I don't feel as bad about it because it's not like I did something wrong. You know, as you guys know, when it comes to this camera, I'm dying to get this camera right. You know, I absolutely want to get this camera right and produce the best footage I can. And I'm really making the effort. I mean, I am seriously investing the effort in getting this material right for the channel. And as a result, you know, when I saw this banding on the video from Monday, I was just devastated. I was just devastated because I was so pleased with how it worked out initially, you know, with how the material worked out. And when I saw this, boy, I was just bummed out. That's all I can tell you. All right, so what I ended up doing, I want to show you guys this little, I put a poll on the channel. And here are the videos. So keep in mind, oops, I got the wrong video. I got the wrong one. Hold on. I have one with the video labels on it. Wait, I got the wrong one open. 1 second. Hang tight. Here it is. Wait, hang with me, guys. Let me get to the right one. It's here. I have it. Hold on a minute. I have to close that one. I don't know why it's not picking it up. Give me, here we go. That should be it. Now I have to go back in and redefine this. There we go. Okay, that's the right one. So I wanted to put this. So what I did is I went out and I wanted to see if anything that I did involving rendering could make a difference. And I put this poll up on the channel, and I asked you guys. I did 4 different tests. So test number 1, video number 1, was a 4K source rendered via H.265 in DaVinci to 4K out. All right, that's the basic model that I've been using all along. The next test was a 4K source rendered as standard H.265 down to 1080p. The next one was a 4K source to DNxR, which is an uncompressed format, and then I rendered it with Handbrake down with H.265 using the production standard. That was video number 3. And then I did a banding test using DNxHR, which is uncompressed or almost lossless, 4K to Handbrake using H.264. So I'm going to set this aside and show you guys the results of that poll because I asked you for some help. I said, hey, do me a favor, take a look at this and tell me what you guys think. And here's what you came up with. So here are the 2 things side by side. 55% of you that responded said you couldn't tell the difference, which really kind of made me happy because that means that at least half of you are like, dude, it doesn't matter what you do. They all look the same, which is kind of the answer. You know, that is the answer at the end of the day. Video number 1 got the highest number of responses at 18%. So video number 1, the funny part is that is the basic workflow that I've been using all along. That's 4K source using DaVinci to export with H.265 to 4K out. That's video number 1. That got the most positive votes. Vote number 2 was using a 4K source of H.265 to DaVinci outputting at 1080p. Nobody liked that at all. You thought that looked like crap. I don't blame you. You're 100% right. That's the worst one. No question about it. Video number 3 got the second number of hits, and that was 4K lossless to Handbrake 265 using NVEnc at 10-bit and production standard, which basically is taking a lossless format and exporting it with the best settings possible in Handbrake. And you guys correctly identified that as number 2. And then for video number 4, you said you didn't like that one because it's DNxR, which is lossless 4K to Handbrake H.264, which is it's not the better compression codec. It's not. H.265 is better. So I'm really impressed with you guys because those of you who said that you could tell the difference, you did it right. You said video number 1 was the best. That is 4K H.265 to 4K out. You're right. You're 100% right about that. I agree with you. And then you correctly identified the second best, and you said that's video 3, which was the lossless format with H.265 NVEC, which is the video card compressor codec with 10-bit to production standard on Handbrake, which is one of the better outputs you can get out of Handbrake. So you guys ought to pat yourself on the back. For those of you who responded, you actually looked and you actually got it right. And I was impressed with that. So good job on that. But I wanted to let you guys know, man, I've been having the most massive fight with my camera and YouTube and this banding issue, because I just want the videos to look the best I can make them look. And here's the end answer. The end answer is that I found out there's a little trick you can employ with what's called grain. You can add a little bit of grain to the video, and when you do that, it creates dithering in those banding lines, which makes the banding effect much less noticeable. So I did the dithering check. I added grain to a video. I posted that in an unlisted format. I will post, if you guys want to see it, I'm going to post the link to that video in the description after this video ends, after the live stream ends, so you can go look at the video segment with the grain added. But after all of my testing and hours of reading, that's the answer. It's going to be H.265 4K only, out to 4K with grain. That's the answer. So that's how I'll be producing my videos for it. Now, I started out talking a little bit about Rob or Bender in Discord, and I'm going to tell you guys, man, that poor guy, he gets on Discord and I start just flooding him. I'm like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I'm sending him video after video after video, compression after compression after compression. I'm like, tell me what you think. And he's like my therapist. he is like my therapist, man. He just gets on, he looks at all my stuff, and you guys have no idea. Rob, I just big thumbs up for me, buddy. I appreciate you. Here, thumbs up. There, you can see him in the video. Thumbs up, man. I appreciate you. You're a big help. And, I'm really grateful to have you out there helping me kind of rationalize and work my way through. And he gives me ideas to think about too. So you guys give Rob's a thumbs up. Tell him thanks for being John's therapist on Discord, because he really does help me out. He listens to me. He gives me ideas. And, I cover some fairly technical stuff, as you can see. And he's just been a great asset to the channel. He is helping the channel in ways you guys have no idea. So I just want to make sure I call that out. So let's see. I'm going to check comments. You can easily see it. That could be just the YouTube. You're 100% right, Elias. There's nothing. At the end of the day, there's really nothing you can do about it, because no, there is one thing. One thing I did. Here's what I learned. What I learned is you have to give YouTube the best possible quality you can. Now, the best possible quality is DNxR, which is lossless. The problem with that is a 5-minute video is 30 gigs. So you really can't do that, because if you produced a 30-minute video, it'd be 5 times that amount, 150 gigs, which would take a week to upload. And I think the upload limit on YouTube is 128 gigs anyway. So that presents a problem. So the answer, number one, is give YouTube the best possible quality you can, but understand that even with 4K, they are going to compress the crap out of it. They are going to destroy it. They're going to compress it. And that compression, by the way, is what results in what you see right there, and that's the banding. And I've noticed this. I hope I don't ruin YouTube for you guys, but I've went out to a bunch of channels. We all have it. They all have it. When you see those blue skies, you'll see that banding out there. So anyway, maybe it's more prominent in higher res. No, it's actually less prominent in higher res. It's more prominent in lower res. Higher res is better for sure, because YouTube uses what's called AV1 for 1080p, which is terrible. 1080p, YouTube treats it like a redheaded bastard stepchild. When you upload 4K, they encode it with VP9, which is a much better codec. Much better. You output a video from your editor at XGO. I'm not sure what that means. X gigabytes, and YouTube converts it to X. That's true. That's true. You do 100%. You can upload a 5 gig file to them and download a 400 meg file, or 300 megs, or 100 megs. It's a lot smaller. That's 100% true. Hobie says, I was so happy to watch one of your videos. I never noticed anything. Well, I'm glad you say that, Hobie. Cheers to you, my friend. Drink. Nice, Hobie. I appreciate that. I'm sticking with number one. Which one did you like, Bill? Number one? Number one was the best. Number one was the best. You got it right. You got it right, Bill. You got it right. Number one was the best. That was the one. Let me pop that back up. You guys said you liked number one the best. So there's number one. Let me bring the poll. There's the poll. See, video number one, 18%, and video number one was 4K H.265 to 4K out. That's the best one. That is the best one. No question about it. So you're right, Bill. You're in the right space. Drone Pilot says LumaFusion does a certain output that complies with YouTube's compression, so it doesn't convert everything. Woo, I might have to check that out, but it still converts stuff. Yeah, they're going to hit you, man. That's what I learned in all my research is YouTube's still going to hit you. Mars Tech Racing says, great job, Rob. Yeah, you guys have no idea, man. You got to get on Discord and say, hey, Rob, thanks for being John's therapist. I'm telling you, you have no idea how much crap I hit him with. And he just keeps going, how about that? And he gives these insightful ideas. He's like, well, maybe check this out or maybe check that. He's a very insightful dude. I'm glad Rob's on the channel. That's all I can say. Redheaded stepchild rolling on the floor laughing. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Redheaded stepchild. Or rented mule. That's another one of my favorites. Mars Tech says, you can check my recent FPV vid when you get time. And if I don't have any banding, I can share my export settings to you. I use DaVinci. So do I. I use DaVinci. In banding, by the way, it's only really present in a very bright blue sky. If you have blue sky and clouds, you hardly ever see it. It's when you have all one color, like gray or blue, and there's gradients. That's where YouTube kicks it in the sack. They just do not like, their banding comes about on solid colors, especially blue and gray skies. So if you have very blue or very gray skies, you'll see it. I even went back, by the way, and looked at GoPro. I found the Grim Reaper video. And when I went back and looked at that, same thing, same exact thing. It was the same exact banding. I just cannot believe I never noticed it before. I can't believe it. I'm shocked. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the bottom line, guys. I'm working real hard, and I think the videos, gosh, I just feel like we're so close on getting those videos to be like, you know, those videos that I can be really proud of, you know, that I can put them out there and be like, hey, you know, these are good flight videos. You see a lot of activity. You see a lot of action. You can see the planes. Everything looks good. And I'm very excited about that part. I really am. I think it's really getting close. Bill says, okay, my memory is shot. Probably need to drink more. Yeah, have another drink. Drink, of course. Okay, so that's it on the video banding. Next topic is coming up, and then we're ready to wrap it up. So see what I mean? Like on that video right there, you don't really see too. Oh, and by the way, this is the non-YouTube. This is before YouTube. So this is what I see when I output from my editor. So look how clean that looks, right? It looks really clean. YouTube just destroys it. That's all I can say. They destroy it, man. YouTube, I mean, you know, they're doing an amazing service connecting all of us the way they do, but man, their compression is just brutal. It's just brutal. Anyway, so, okay, coming up, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. We have rain Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday do not look like good fly days. However, I've got a couple of plane builds to get done. So I expect over the weekend, I'll probably get the Skywing done, and the jet should be fairly simple because it's 8 screws and a receiver, right? It should take almost no time at all. So we'll get that done. And the Skywing I'll get done as well. So I expect the Skywing, the jet, and the Stearman. So all three of those planes, they kind of converge at the same point in time, unfortunately. So I'll be doing those videos. The maidens, hopefully, I'm looking for maybe a 3 martini lunch on Monday. We're going to get 1 or 2 of the maidens done over lunch, and then maybe the next one a little later on in the week. So that's the game plan. Look for a couple of maiden videos coming up during the week. I don't have anything planned for EdgeTX. I haven't seen anything new. I know they're working. I've been watching their PRs and watching the logs. I've also been keeping an eye on Express LRS. I don't see anything really new happening there either outside of the RadioMaster thing. So I don't expect this week that we'll really see anything on Edge or Express LRS. So mainly we'll be focused on the airplane material, getting the planes built and ready for their maidens, and hopefully 1 or 2 maiden videos for you guys. So that's what I have planned coming up for the upcoming week. And that's it. I don't see any other comments. You guys have anything you want to talk about RadioMaster? Any questions about video banding? And look at that video, man. Look how nice that looks. See, that's before YouTube gets their hands on it and compresses the crap out of it. When I saw it, it looked great. I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is a good looking video. And then I gave it to YouTube, and boy, did they do a number on it. Anyway, I don't see any questions, so I think that brings us to a very good stopping point. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night. I hope you get out there and fly something, even for you guys who are up there in that freezing cold snow up there in Massachusetts and Canada. Hope you get out there and fly. I definitely am getting on Discord tonight. I kind of feel like, flying, man. I'm going to get on Discord and I'm going to bust out the simulator, maybe do some helicopter stuff. So you guys got your helicopter sims out, Fred, I'm looking at you, or Hobie, or any of you guys got Real Flight or AccuRC. If you guys want to fly, I'm going to get on Discord. I feel like flying tonight, so I'm going to get the sim out, do a little bit of flying on Discord. I hope to see you guys over there. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night. Thank you for being a patron. If you are, I appreciate you. And I want to remind you, if you like what you see on RC Video Reviews, you can help me do more if you want to sign up on patreon.com for $3 a month. $3, it's like a cup of coffee. All right, fellas, that's all I got for tonight. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Get out there and fly something. Take it easy.